So welcome back to Better Preparedness. With experience, kind of learned that having equipment failures doesn't have to happen. Now maybe there's some things that are really beyond your control, like you get hit by somebody in the race and it breaks your derailleur or something. Well, there's not much you can do about that, maybe during the race. Or at least you can have some tools, maybe you can fix it. But in any case, having equipment and working well is going to likely improve not only your reliability to finish, but also your speed. A clean bike is a fast bike. I don't think any bike mechanic is going to disagree with the fact that having a clean bike means it's going to go faster probably. The drivetrain is going to be smoother, so you're going to have less energy loss, faster, and just simply it's kind of more fun. And also you get to see ahead of time, is there anything not working that you didn't know of in the weeks before your race? Ideally do this at 1 week before, so that way if you have any repairs to do. I never like to do drivetrain changes within a week of the race because I like to test the parts and the setup to make sure the shifting is fine. You don't want to be stuck with a scenario where the chain will only stay in the small ring at the front. In any case, so what I've done here for my bike prep for the race tomorrow is I've got my degreaser that I put into this spray bottle years ago, and I've clearly marked degreaser and danger. So I degreased the drive chain about 10 minutes ago. So I've been letting it soak in. Got some bike wash. This stuff works all right, but typically what I use is just a big bucket of soapy water with dish soap, or I think in the UK they call it washing up liquid, and just put together a bit of a dedicated bike wash kit. And whatever brushes you end up accumulating over the years, you have these things, these wire brushes are really useful for getting the drivetrain cleaned up, especially once you put degreaser. That grime comes off a lot more easily. This is part of a kit that I won years ago. This apron, I wouldn't say I necessarily advise that everyone has to go out and buy an apron, but I got this years ago as part of a prize winners package, so hey, why not? And look at this, you can even, for metallic stuff, you can even just clip it on there. But I've got a whole bunch of sponges, and from time to time you have to just throw these out after they just get way too grimy. And again, some more bigger brushes. What I tend to do with these sponges is I'll use them on the clean parts of the bike, and gradually as they get worn and dirtier, then they'll switch to the drive chain cleaning, and then eventually they just get so grimy that there's not much you can do about them. So I've put the degreaser on about 10 minutes ago. I've let it soak in, put it on the cogs, on the rings, on the chain. Make sure you spin it. It kind of works the degreaser into the chain. Doesn't even hurt to put a bit of degreaser on the rims if they've gotten a bit of oil splatter from sport drink. There's a fair bit of junk. I think I've had a bit of a leaky bottle here. So I'll give that just a wash. I'm not going to get the bars and the seat area wet on this one because the race is tomorrow. I don't want to have to dry out all this stuff. But I'll give it a good soapy water wash, give it a good rinse. Before I actually use the water, I'm going to use these wire brushes on the cogs, which is the little pulley wheels at the back, and the drive chain and the various things. That just helps work that stuff off. Once you put the soapy water on, I find the degreaser stops doing its job. I've got my race kit already packed, spare patch kit, tire levers, multi-tool, and I've got my mini pump here as well. So the bike's pretty much set up. So all that I need to really do now is give it a good wash, make sure it's nice and dry. I'll dry out the chain as well, and then later on, once I'm sure the whole chain is dry, I'm going to put the dry chain lube that I'm going to use tomorrow. Since the conditions are quite dry, I'll be using a dry chain lube, and just making sure the bike is ready. And then I'll check the pressure tonight, and then tomorrow morning before the race I like to check it one more time because I'm a bit of a stickler for a particular pressure I like to run. And you can also check the tires while you're at it. Check the tires for any gashes that you hadn't seen. Maybe there's a thorn or a piece of glass embedded. because this is a chance for you to catch any last minute things that could be in the process of going towards a puncture. And if you need to do any repairs, you can, but just be mindful that it's a good idea to check repairs and make sure you test them with a few rides to make sure everything's working. Like, you don't want to be playing around with cleat setup or changing your shifting, because you just want to make sure everything's working. And check your brake pads, give those a clean, and well, you should be in good shape. Oh, before I forget, here's a little Better Preparedness top tip. Now, I don't like using disposable gloves. Don't think it's great for the environment, but you could be using sort of rubber gloves, like heavy duty rubber gloves. I kind of just prefer to wash my bike using my bare hands. Now, you can get pretty greasy bike grease on your hands, so what I find works well for cleaning up is take dish soap and rub it into your hands for 20-30 seconds dry. Don't use any water. Just put the soap on your hands and rub it in. Try not to rub it up underneath your nails. And what I find is that if you do that for about 20-30 seconds, and then you can wash it off with water, fine, that will take off about 95% of your bike grease. Now, don't hold me to this, but I find it works very well, and especially if this is like your wedding day or some big event, don't wash your bike on a day like this. You might end up with a bit of grease splatters here and there as you clean your bike. So use dish soap, dry, and then wash it off. You should take care of most of the bike grease you get on your hands. I'll take it out for a little spin this afternoon and see how everything is working, making sure the shifting is working, making sure I haven't thrown anything off by doing this cleaning. But other than that, I should have a nice clean bike. It should be faster, it'll be smoother in the pedaling, and well, hopefully better chance of coming through this race in good shape. Thanks a lot for watching. Share your comments. What do you find works well? What kinds of things do you like to do in your last minute bike prep before races? Click that like button, click that subscribe button if you haven't already. And well, thanks for watching on Better Preparedness. Safe and fun racing. Cheers.